Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk all things Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and today's report includes Ravens players mock this Steeler ahead of this weekend's playoff matchup. Should the Steelers consider going after this top 10 wide receiver in the offseason? This chart will disgust Pittsburgh Pirates fans, and more. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into the first news story of the day. Ravens players mock this Steeler ahead of this weekend's playoff matchup. In 4 days, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens will do battle for the third time this season, but this time in a win-or-go-home wildcard playoff game. These two rivals split the first two matchups, and when watching those games, I think it's fair to say that the intensity and animosity between the two has risen compared to the last few years. Well, all that hatred for the Ravens, at least in this one Steeler, is about to go up. A video was put on social media yesterday of some Ravens players trying on and smelling quarterback Lamar Jackson's new cologne. When defensive tackle Travis Jones tried the cologne, another person, presumably a player, could be heard in the background saying, quote, "It smells like George Pickens," with another person saying, "Soft?" being answered with, "Yeah, smells just like that." An hour or so later, the video got the attention of George Pickens' presumed ex-burner account Michael Brewerly, who commented, "Talk is cheap." Coming off the worst performance of his professional career against the Bengals, I'm sure GP doesn't need any extra motivation heading into Baltimore. Also, just saying here, when Pickens is playing, the Steelers are 4-1 against the Ravens. Kickoff for this rivalry playoff game is scheduled for 8 p.m. on Prime Video. Should the Steelers consider going after this top 10 wide receiver in the offseason? Speaking of George Pickens, it has been proven throughout this season that he is the one and only true threat in the Steelers' wide receiver room. When the black and gold traded Deontay Johnson last offseason, the depth of the wide receiver core was exposed, and general manager Omar Khan failed to bring in a suitable replacement on multiple occasions. The lack of depth has cost the Steelers in many ways, making this offseason search for wide receiver help all that more crucial. Well, good news for the Steelers is that they could go after one of the best wide receivers of the past decade who could be available soon. After losing to the New York Jets on Sunday and being officially eliminated from playoff contention, Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill made it crystal clear that he wants to play elsewhere next season. In his post-game interview, Hill said, "This is my first time I haven't been in the playoffs. I mean, for me, I just got to do what's best for me and my family. If that's here, or that's wherever the case may be, man, I'm gonna open that door for myself. I'm out, bro. It was great playing here, but at the end of the day, I gotta do what's best for my career. I'm too much of a competitor to be, just out there." It should be noted that Hill isn't slated to be a free agent, having just wrapped up the first year of a 3-year contract extension, but with what he said there, and the Dolphins being a middle-of-the-road team, he may be allowed to seek a trade or be released. In 2024, Hill played in all 17 games, recording 81 receptions for 959 yards and 6 touchdowns. Certainly a down year for a player of his pedigree, but even with those stats, he had more receptions than the entire Steelers wide receiver core, minus George Pickens, and more yards than Calvin Austin, Van Jefferson, and Mike Williams combined. Hill would definitely change the outlook of the Steelers, but if he doesn't wear black and gold next season, then there will be many more receivers in free agency like T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, and Keenan Allen, as well as the draft like Emeka Egbuka, Isaiah Bond, and Kyron Lacy. If the Steelers are going to be considered Super Bowl contenders in 2025, then their wide receiver room needs major upgrades. The opponents of the Steelers for next season have been revealed. Over the holiday break, the Pittsburgh Steelers found out who their opponents are and where they will be traveling to next season. Aside from the obligatory home and away divisional games against the Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns, and Cincinnati Bengals, the Steelers will be hosting at Acrisure Stadium the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Indianapolis Colts, and Seattle Seahawks, and will be going on the road to visit the Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, New England Patriots, New York Giants, and Los Angeles Chargers. At quick glance, it looks like these opponents should be a tiny bit easier than this year's schedule, but elite teams like the Bills, Lions, and Vikings swap in for the Chiefs and Eagles. However, the best part in my opinion is that the Steelers only have one West Coast trip to Los Angeles in 2025 compared to going to Denver and Las Vegas in 2024. No dates, times, or broadcast networks have been announced for these games, but probably will be around the draft in late April or early May. What Steelers matchup in 2025 are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comments below. This fan favorite Pittsburgh Penguins player is back in the lineup tonight. Tonight, the Pittsburgh Penguins kick off a 5-game homestand against a Metropolitan Division foe in the Columbus Blue Jackets. But before tonight's game begins, a fan favorite player looks like he's going to be back in the Pens lineup for the first time in exactly 1 month. According to line rushes from this morning's skate, forward Jesse Puljujärvi will sub in for Anthony Beauvillier on the third line with Kevin Hayes and Drew O'Connor. Puljujärvi has 3 goals and 5 assists in 21 games this season, and after being put on waivers last week, he should come out of the gates flying. Other notes from this morning's skate are that injured forward Philip Tomasino skated individually, a good sign for him after leaving last Friday's game, and that Tristan Jarry will be between the pipes for the Penguins tonight against Elvis Merzlikins for the Blue Jackets. Puck drop for tonight's game is at 7 p.m. And finally, this chart will disgust Pittsburgh Pirates fans. I don't need to sit here and tell you how bad the Pittsburgh Pirates are being run, from ownership to management to player development and so on and so forth. Instead, I'm going to let the following chart by Brookskate do the talking for me. What you are looking at here is a graph that shows how much money MLB teams have spent compared to how many games those teams have won since 2020. To no surprise, in the upper right-hand portion of this graph, you're seeing teams like the Dodgers, Astros, Yankees, and Braves who have won or almost won the World Series since 2020. Also to no surprise is that down in the left-hand portion of the graph, which is for teams who have not spent money and have not won games, you'll see your Pittsburgh Pirates. This is the literal visual representation of win nutting, spent nutting. Hey, sell the team crew. Next time you guys buy a billboard space or make a sign for a protest, please put this graph on it. It is seriously disgusting that Major League Baseball is allowing Bob Nutting to intentionally remain in that portion of the graph, the basement of the league, for not only the past half-decade, but for probably the next half-decade as well. That's it. I'm not going to go too much further into detail on shaming the Pirates today. I'll just go and enjoy my Elvis Alvarado signing becoming official, while the division rival Cincinnati Reds make a trade that we should have made, and the Athletics, without a professional stadium, continue to egregiously outspend us. Next underwhelming move, Alex Verdugo, come on down. One more thing, sell the team, Bob. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow with some more Pittsburgh sports news.